Hey YouTube, this is Donald, and today I'm gonna re-review a console that I reviewed about 2 or 3 years ago, called the Nintendo 64 Pokemon Edition version. And there are some things, and I just wanted to make some improvements on my old videos. So here it is, the Pokemon Pikachu Nintendo 64 Control Deck console. So what is this console? Well, it's basically another console from Nintendo released in 1996. And it's one of the first consoles and it's another cartridge-based console that this time has 64 bits in the system. That's the title, Nintendo 64. It's got the Nintendo 64 logo on the corner. Nintendo attempted to compete against Sega with this new console, but I'm not sure if it's underrated or did it fail by the PlayStation 1, or it became successful as much as the PlayStation 1 did. But it is a great console to go out with for Nintendo. So let's get into details. Here's the on and off switch, which is shaped like a Pokeball. The usual N64 on-off switch is different from this, but it does function the same way as the N64's on-off switch. The regular one, I mean. Here's your reset button, which is Pikachu's foot. And there's Ash's, and there's the sticker with Ash's face saying, "Press here to reset." Here's the memory card slot, memory expansion slot. I got a memory expansion pack inside, which I got from Play and Trade. Here's the cartridge slot, which has a dust cover. Here's the air vent, I think. On the front it says Pokemon Pikachu Nintendo 64, and it's got 4 controller ports, so you don't need to buy the multi-tap to play 4 players or 3 players. There's nothing too exciting on the side, but there's a couple of vents as well on each side. On the back, it's got your AV slot, which, interesting enough, the GameCube AV, it's got AV multi-out, which is composite hookups. Interesting enough, the Super Nintendo AV pin will work on this thing, so does the GameCube. Here's the AC adapter port, which is pretty big, but that's where the AC adapter pin would plug into, as you can see. The reason I got this is because this thing really matches my personality with Nintendo stuff, which is Pokemon. Underneath it says Pikachu Nintendo 64 Control Deck. It's a US region. And there's no expansion slot to plug in an add-on for the N64, which was only released in Japan, so it's not going to work on this thing, unfortunately. Sadly. But I don't think it's a big deal. Oh, and when you turn on the system, Pikachu's red cheeks will light up flashing red, meaning that it's booting up. Then they light up red, meaning that the system is on. They act like a light indicator for this thing, which is pretty cool. Now let me show you its hardware. Here's the AV cable. Hold on a sec. Suck. There we go. It's got composite hookups only. I'm not sure if there's an RF modulator available, like an RF cable available for this thing. I'm sure it might be made by Mad Catz, chances are. Here's the AC adapter. It's got a black brick for a pin, and it ends with a small plug that looks like this. So move those out of the way. Here's the joystick controller. Here's the controller for the N64. It's got a joystick here, a start button, B and a C camera button, which are 4 different buttons. Here's the bumper button, left and right, the D-pad, and underneath it's got the trigger button that says Z on it. And underneath it's got the memory card slot or rumble for a rumble pack or a memory card that looks like this. I don't have the rumble pack that goes with this thing, but you might get the idea. I use this to save data. Oh, and this analog joystick doesn't click by any means of imaginations. Oh, and the N64 controller uses these kind of proprietary plugs. So it's not going to work with any other controller other than this controller. But there are some combinations of this controller that will work with the N64 that may look identical to this, but are shaped differently. But anyway, let me show you the games. I got Majora's Mask, which is one of the titles I tried on the GameCube on the Zelda emulator, on the Legend of Zelda emulator. Beetle Adventure Racing. I like this game. I didn't play the whole thing, but, well, I did play most of it, but yeah, this game is really awesome, I'll give it that. The cartridges plug in like so, like that. The cartridges plug in like here, and you can pull them out with your fingers, with one hand. Here's Hot Wheels Turbo and Turbo Racing, Bassmaster 2000, Dr. Mario 64, Hey You Pikachu. There's another game that I have, but I couldn't get it, so that's what I'm showing you. But you guys might get the idea of its library of games if you had it. But anyway, and these games are not compatible with any other system other than the N64, unfortunately. So, unfortunately, they're not compatible with other systems other than the N64. So yeah, in conclusion, if you like Nintendo consoles, and if you like Pokemon, then this might be a console worth picking up, if you're into Pokemon, of course, or Nintendo titles. And this is a perfect console to start doing racing games with, too. It's got a bunch of racing titles, like Beetle Adventure, like Volkswagen Beetle Adventure Racing, which I liked. Man, if I saw that game when I was a kid, I would have loved this. Today, it may not be anything special, but back then, I would have loved it. Well, now that I have it, I do like it today, but back then, I would have loved it if I was still a kid now. But I'm not. But I still like it either way. But anyway, in conclusion, the N64, if you like Nintendo consoles, and if you want a new game console, pick one of these things up. You can either pick up a plain one, or you could get one in different colors, or get this particular one I have. I got this thing from Amazon, so you can get that on Amazon, because they're not really high demand. And then N64 games are easy to collect for today, places like eBay or Amazon, because they're not really high demand. And they have different kinds of unique accessories that will work with this thing. It may not have any light guns, but you can... This game console doesn't have any light gun games, unfortunately. But it's still cool enough the way it is. And it's got the word Nintendo on top. So anyway, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and like the video, and yeah, I'll see you on the next video. This is me, signing off.